What's up, everybody? Welcome to Crown Cinema Podcast. In this episode, we just watched
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Got a nice special couch episode today.
Yep.
Shout out. Transition period.
Yeah, shout out to everybody that has been listening or will be listening to this one. We are currently moving.
So we got a special set today. Transition set. But new set's coming in the next maybe 3 episodes? 4 episodes maybe?
Something like that.
We'll see.
You know, it's going to look great, though.
Yes.
Some will say it's the best.
Here's a long-awaited final episode of the trilogy of us ripping into gray for not liking these movies. So the question is, what did you think of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
My answer is, I get how this one was the one that was more popular.
Okay.
This was a good movie.
It's also good because, like, I feel like after you've seen the first two, you kind of get the Clint Eastwood vibe totally. So when you see him again in this movie, it's kind of like he's playing into his character even more.
Yeah, like it was good to like kind of get through those shitty ones and then just get to this one and finally realize what they were actually going for. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Thank you for taking the words right out of my mouth, Cade.
Their
that
budget
was perfect.
Their budget was clearly bigger. They got to have full-scale war scenes.
Yes, budget aside, which definitely helped. I just think that execution-wise, going into this movie, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
that was a good movie. I enjoyed this movie.
All right, what do you rate it?
I rate this movie a 6.5.
All right,
and I'm proud of that 6.5. I think this movie.
We didn't get you to a 7. I was hoping we'd get you at least to a 7.
Not a 7, but a good 6.5. I appreciated this. I was way more into this, dude. Those first 2 ones, and you know, I hate to hate on movies.
Do you?
Truly, I really do. It's not like I'm out here just. Not like I'm just out here trying to pick a fight with you two, because all that ever happens is I get tag teamed like I'm in the WWE. But the fact of the matter is, this was a good movie, intriguing, story wise. Like it was good. I like character development. I like the way that they interacted. I thought that the dialogue was good. It was smooth. And given the past 2 movies that we've seen, I think it's safe to say that that was pretty much my biggest problem with what we were watching. Now it was smoother. You got to understand the characters way better. Overall, just a good movie.
Yeah, I agree. The dialogue's definitely way better. I'm going to go, I think I gave the last ones 8s, right? I'm pretty sure I gave them 8s. I'm going to give this one an 8.5. I haven't been doing points, but I'm going to give this one an 8.5. I don't think it's 100% a 9. I do think 3 hours, I think there are some scenes that are too long. Like, I think the Civil War scene is cool and it shows the scale. Like, it's almost like they just threw it in there because they had the budget to do it, but I'm not really sure. Maybe I just missed it first. You know, I haven't seen it in a long time, so maybe I just didn't connect what the real meaning of that scene was. It's showing the ugly and the good teaming up together, but again, it's kind of like, I feel like we could have wrapped it up a little bit more. Let's see the gold. I don't know, maybe not. But again, it's a long-ass movie.
It's funny because that's what I was saying for the first 2 movies. So while I don't disagree with your opinion, all that I'm wanting to see is that everybody sitting here on this couch agrees that this is the better one.
Yeah, 100%. Scott?
Oh my God.
This is my least favorite one of the 3.
No way. All right, let it rip, Scott. What'd you not like about it?
I'll give it a 7. God. I didn't love how much goofier it was. You know, there was less.
I thought it was way more serious.
There was less cool action scenes. There was more like comedy. Like his the ugly. He was like comedic relief a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Wow.
I kind of liked it though. It's kind of playing more into it.
I thought it actually made more sense. Like listen, you know, I don't want to bash anybody on their opinion. I know that's not the most I know that's not the most popular thing to do on this podcast. You know, obviously we clearly respect one another's opinions, you know, given past episodes. But I gotta kindly disagree with you, Scott. You fucking idiot.
I get that, dude. I think you didn't understand it was goofy before, and now it's just too obvious.
No,
love that.
no.
You only understand shit that's in your face, you dumbass.
No. I thought this just
it had more explosions, so Gray liked it better.
Forget explosions. Yeah, what
Okay.
we're going with the
Yeah.
Friday beers. Like,
Yeah.
Deadpool Wolverine.
That's great. I did like how it was based around the Civil War,
Yeah.
but I didn't love like how they would focus on how bad it was because it feels like inauthentic.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the super like somber music as they're just walking through a scene.
Yeah.
I liked the other times I interacted with it.
Yeah, but it is. I do kind of like how it is set in the Civil War, but it's not really about the Civil War. Like it's a story in the Civil War. Because like normally, I feel like most American-made movies, at least that are taking place in the Civil War, it's really about the history of the Civil War. Because that's like what they think Americans are drawn to more so. But it's kind of cool to see in the Civil War as in like just a background piece of the movie.
Yeah, and so I like the idea of just like they're kind of showing of just what moderate people during that time who probably didn't have an opinion. Like they're showing like the realistic way of like, well, I mean, I think it's pretty fucked up what both sides are doing.
Yeah.
However, I'm still going to like just try and survive the best way that I can. And it's not even so much survival. It's like, how can I just do better given the circumstances?
Yeah. You got a Mexican and a wanderer that just stumble upon the Civil War.
So,
like,
I like that concept of it. They try and show here and there that they have like, I guess morals, but at the end of the day, like it's all about getting that $200,000.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's showing the good, quote unquote, the bad and the ugly. But at the end of the day, like none of these main characters are heroes by any means.
Yeah.
And so I think there's genius in it. I think it's just way better shown in this movie compared to the other two that we've seen. Just in the sense that, I don't know, like, I think the first two movies, the problem that I had was that the planning, the scheming, all the conniving, like it was honestly too movie-like in a sense. And then with this,
goofy.
Yeah, goofy. Just a little too cartoonish for me. And then in this one, everything that happened just kind of made a lot more sense. It flowed better.
But it also might flow better for you because it's way easier to understand what they're saying.
I really don't think so. Like you know what? I won't take that away from the fact because I know for the first two episodes of this trilogy that we've done, I've had a problem with the dialogue or whatever. Maybe there is something to be said by the fact that now that we're on the third movie, I kind of understand what they're going for. But I just don't think it just sounded way clear.
I agree. And even some scenes you didn't realize it was ADR. Like I feel like it matched up perfectly where you're like, did they record that on set? They said they don't, but it looked good enough that it seemed like they recorded it on set. The lips matched up pretty well.
It was good. And it just wasn't as corny as the first two have been to me. I felt like the standoff scenes in the first two movies were just really throwing me off because, like I said on the first episode, was like you don't want to like overuse the standoff. The typical Mexican standoff where they're just looking at each other. They have the gun, like who's gonna go first. Like they did it way too many times in the first two, and in this one, I think there was only like one.
Two. I think there's one in the beginning. There's some type of standoff in the beginning.
Okay. But what you know what I'm saying.
3-hour movie, it's hard to remember all the scenes.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, they made them count. And
they were more impactful.
Yeah, exactly. More impactful. That's what I'm going for. And so I just appreciated that. Like I felt those standoff scenes, they weren't as corny. And that made it just a lot more serious. And
I do agree with Scott. I think it was goofier, but doesn't ruin it for me. I kind of like the goofiness because it's almost like they're almost making his cigar a joke. Because like in the first two, he's like sleeps with the cigar. It's like his iconic piece.
Yeah, they're making fun of themselves, kinda.
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I think they're aware of what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think I appreciate the more self-awareness in this movie.
Yeah, there's that self-awareness with the cigar as the guys walk in trying to catch. Once the Ugly's trying to catch Blondie, he's seeing his cigars, and it's like he's able to track him based on his cigars. Like that's his one like little piece he leaves behind. That's kind of funny. The cigars, he's like looking for it.
Yeah.
Even there's like an entrance where Clint Eastwood comes around a corner, and he blows smoke out before he enters. So it's like, you know, it's him before he gets out there. The smoke blows. You're like, oh, there he is.
Or even he's in the middle of a major Civil War battle and he's still got a cigar in his mouth,
yeah,
puffing on it while he's like carrying around dynamite, explosives. Like, it is a little bit more comical. So, damn. I guess with that being said, I guess I kind of agree with Scott.
Talk yourself into it.
But I don't know. I also thought like just more of the one-on-one scenes were a lot more brutal and a lot more realistic. And I guess maybe that's what took me out of the first two movies, is because I didn't know what to expect. And I think based on the movies that we see now, they do a really good job of, from the get-go, like kind of showing us the mood of, listen, like this is something that is like serious or it's not. And I thought the first two movies, now that I'm really thinking about it, it seemed like they were just trying to take themselves way too serious. And in this one, they knew how the characters were and they knew the flow that they were going for. So they weren't like trying to overdo it. And so I think I just appreciate the fact that like they finally just like probably came around the table one time and was like, you know what? Like, this is the movie. Like, this makes sense.
There's some, too, though. You have to think about the time. A lot of action sequences, like from the first two movies, they're not as good because the action's not believable from what we've seen today. Like, the last episode we watched was Indiana Jones last week. And so, the one criticism I had that I didn't really give it a criticism is because the fight scenes weren't as good, because just the time and us used to seeing John Wick type movies, you know, you can't match that. So like watching Indiana Jones fight or watching these guys fight, and it's not really that believable like a good fist fight. It's like punch, pause, wait to get hit, get hit again. It's corny, it's cheesy, but that's just the time of how they do these action movies. But in this movie, because they have a bigger budget, you're seeing big ass explosions, cannons, bunch of soldiers running out there on the field. So it feels more real. So you kind of aren't taken out of it with the fake fight scenes.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, kind of back to the Civil War thing. What you just brought up, I thought, especially in the second movie, I mean, this was like my biggest argument with it was that it was centered around like this big bank robbery, and that this bank was just like damn near impossible to crack. And we had our disagreements on it.
Yes.
But overall, my problem with it was that it was just a big lead up to something that just didn't take that long. And I feel like they corrected it perfectly in this movie.
Yeah.
Just in the sense that they are in the midst of the Civil War of the United States. That's a huge deal. That's a huge obstacle to overcome. And they don't do it in one cartoonish explosion.
Yeah.
Although you might think that when you watch it. No, they were prisoners of war, I think 3 times leading up to that point.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they got captured. They got captured at least twice.
Yeah, so you get to see the characters like kind of go through the ropes. And no matter how they get out of it, as kind of silly as it could be, it's also, to me, which is important, possible. Like, it makes sense that they were able to get out. They're using fake names. They're, kind of blackmailing some of the antagonists, like telling them like, oh, well, we actually know a little bit something about it. It's like, you know what? That could work at the point, because they're after $200,000. That's a lot of money. You can't just throw that number out there and expect to not be taken serious.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. This movie just made more sense.
Yeah. And also, like, the reason why we started watching them is because Tarantino said each one builds and becomes better than the next. So they keep getting bigger and bigger. And in this case, like the whole premise of these movies is that Clint Eastwood's pitting two people against each other so that he gets the benefit of, the falling out of the two, or he's playing two sides so he can get the best deal, And so the first scene, it starts just like a small town with these two families or these two like different sides fighting against. He plays both of them. Second one, it gets a little bit bigger. Now he's in a town. And the third one, they almost reach the climax of like who you can pit against each other. It's two different governments. He's fighting against, or he's playing the Confederates and playing the Union.
Yeah.
So now it's like the biggest scale of how he can play this thing. So like, again, bringing it up a whole notch.
Yeah. And so to go off of that, like I'm just thinking, the first movie, it refreshed my memory, but he's like kind of going against like two families.
Yeah, it's like one side, it's the sheriff's side that's like not really the sheriff, and then it's the other side. I forget their names.
But
maybe you can help us with the names on those.
But it doesn't even matter, because in the first movie, it's all about how Clint Eastwood's character is like, he's always just one step ahead.
Yeah,
that's fine. And honestly, this movie made me appreciate that so much more, because he really is like the entire movie. Well, I guess other than the desert scene, that was pure luck of him surviving.
Which who? Clint Eastwood?
Yeah, because like the horse carriage just happened to just roll along. But I don't want to nitpick, because the war is happening, so that could happen. Like it's very plausible that is something that could happen to somebody that was stranded in the desert. Whatever. Yeah. Anyways, but what I'm getting at is that this movie like shows how much smarter he is. Because by the end of it, after like the final move has been made by him, there's like, you know what? That made sense.
Yeah.
That like everything he did was a calculated decision.
Yeah, they took that concept and they just polished it to make this movie.
Yes.
But it is polished, but then to like agree with Scott on this, they polished it, but knowing that it's a fan favorite movie, they played into a lot of it, making it a little bit more goofy. But still, the concept of it is a lot more polished, in my opinion.
Yeah. At this point, like just kind of go all in on the fact that it's kind of funny that Clint Eastwood's character is just this know-it-all cowboy.
One line saying.
Just one line saying he will figure it out. And when he figures it out, he's going to let you know.
Yep.
He's going to make some weird jab at you before he shoots you in the heart.
Well, he's still one step ahead of you.
Yeah.
You still know he's got something in his back pocket.
Yeah. So, this was good. This was an enjoyable movie.
It was, because it's like,
which isn't that what we're all after? Don't we all just want to watch movies that we just like?
Yes.
Okay, so now let's just not go after me this episode. Why don't we all just take a moment to enjoy the fact that I enjoyed this movie?
That's good.
We were an hour and a half into it. Thank you. We were an hour and a half into it, and I was like, you know what? I can't wait to see what happens.
Because as we were watching it, I was glad. I knew we had you when you were laughing, pointing stuff out, cheering at things. I'm like, he likes it. We got him. We got him.
Yeah, I was asking questions like, so
what do you say?
Yeah, well, the one that comes to mind is like, so you have the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the bad is like pretty much like the badass, like kind of detective bounty hunter.
Yeah.
And like at one point,
kills just to kill because he says he's going to kill.
He kills because he got paid to kill, so he's going to always finish the job.
Yeah, even when it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I respect the guy for it.
Well.
Or do I? No. But like at one point, it just something as so simple as like he went into an infirmary, and then like 30 minutes later, the good and the ugly go into an infirmary, and I was like, wait, was that the same one? I don't know.
I don't think so. Because he went to the infirmary, but we saw him when you brought it up. That was the.
But I was trying to pay attention. Because I cared. I really cared.
It's funny with them playing more into the goofiness, because Clint Eastwood's final reveal, he's the third character. First we see the bad, then we see the ugly, then we see the good roll up with Clint Eastwood as Blondie. And when he steps into the scene, it's almost like, it kind of reminds me of like a Marvel cameo. Like when you're in a Marvel movie and then like you see like Deadpool Wolverine and you see Johnny Storm pop in, and you're like, oh shit. So they almost had that moment when he comes in. He walks into frame with the music playing. You're like, there he is, there he is.
Yeah.
So it's like audience moment. Play into the trope that We all know you love this guy. Here he is.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's funny. Like they didn't take themselves too seriously, and it was good.
Yeah, it was
Can't
good.
emphasize that enough.
I love the opening scene too, showing the three characters, because the first one is Ugly. No, Ugly actually was first, right? He's the first one that gets shown whenever they go and try to kill him.
Yeah.
So like his opening scene, it's a little bit quicker. Honestly, it's not quicker. It takes them forever to walk up to that building. You don't know what they're doing. They're just like walking for literally 5 minutes.
Well, for me, I was sad because I was just like, damn, like first scene, they're just gonna go for an epic shootout, and we don't even know who the characters are. There's been no build up to who these guys are.
Yeah, we don't care about these dudes.
And I think they were going for that, because like you show two guys at the very beginning that are walking towards another guy, a lone ranger, and you don't know who he is. You just know he's the opening shot with the badass scar on his face, and he's the first one to like hold his gun. So you think it's just going to be 1-on-2. You don't know what the premise is, but given the history of the movies, you'd probably think like, oh, this is the bad. But then it's just like a nice little twist. Like, no, they're actually meeting up to go do a bank robbery.
Yeah, or go kill that guy.
To go kill the bounty, or Tuco.
Yeah.
So I like that. As soon as that happened, I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
Like you know what? Like now I feel like they're really gonna be unpredictable in this movie.
Yeah, but so with that opening scene when they go in and you finally get revealed of who the Ugly is, it's almost like an uglier scene where it's like rougher, a lot of explosions, quick fight. He runs out quick, so it's like an ugly scrap. So that kind of symbolizes the Ugly. Whenever the bad rolls in the next scene, it's very calm and peaceful. He comes up
calculated.
He's a kid. He's watching a kid, get water with the donkey around the well. He rolls up. It's nice, like calming music, beautiful setting. He walks into this house and eats the man's food, steals his stuff without asking. And then what is he doing? He's going to kill him, and he's even open to killing the family. Whoever comes to stop him, he's going to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see him again in the next scene when you finally get revealed he's the bad. He kills that guy when there's literally no reason for it. The person that didn't even say he wanted that guy to get killed. He just gave him money to pay him off.
Damn near on a deathbed.
Yeah, and that guy's dying. He's sick. Also, the guy that, air quote, we don't know for sure, but he just assumes wanted the sick guy dead. He decides to kill him anyway just because, well, I think I made a deal, so I got to finish it through. So you're like, yeah, this guy's fucking bad. This guy will kill you just because one person paid him a little bit of money and said, suggested to kill somebody.
Yeah, there's nothing scarier than a villain with principles. Almost.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter. Like, his whole principle was like, if somebody pays me to do a job, I'm gonna finish it.
No matter what.
And so I like that the little double twist of, well, this guy just paid me $1,000 to kill you.
Yeah.
And maybe I just finished your job, but he also paid me, so now I gotta kill you. It's just it's just like the subtle, I'm only here for money.
Yeah. Money, please.
I'll kill somebody for money.
For money. And then whenever the good rolls up, you see him doing the little trick. Well, I guess is his opening scene whenever he is doing the double crossing with the police, getting the bounty, doubling up on his bounty.
Not the opening scene. They so it goes the ugly, the bad, then the good.
So what's the good's opening scene?
The good's opening scene is the hanging.
Okay, him double crossing people with the double dipping in his bounty.
Yeah, he shoots the rope off of the ugly to make sure that it doesn't hang, and then his signature move is like shooting off the hats of all the people that might pose a threat.
Because he's good, he's gonna do his immoral action by double dipping on his bounty and turning somebody in, but setting him free to then turn him in again to get double up on the money. But he doesn't kill the sheriffs because he's actually a good guy. He's not gonna just unjustly kill people that are trying to do justice of the law.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably Clint Eastwood's way of saying like he doesn't believe in the death penalty. Respectable way of going about it.
Mm-hmm.
So but then
Nice. Good.
That was pretty good.
That was good. That was good execution all the way through.
Yep. But no, seriously, I honestly, that was kind of cracking me up throughout the whole movie.
The music?
You never knew when it was going to be the moment for the music.
Yeah.
But when it was the moment for the music, perfect.
You like those transitions. It'd be like someone screaming into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You did too.
Yeah, I did.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you hear the whistle, and you'd hear Tuco like out in the desert,
Yeah.
like,
yeah. It switches over real quick.
yeah, that's good. Like I appreciate that. That means somebody was in the room when they were like finishing this movie up, and they were like, "Wait a minute, let's try it."
Yeah.
And then they put it in.
Trust me.
Then they put it in, and everybody was just like, standing applause, standing ovation.
Yeah.
This is perfect.
I kind of feel like Clint Eastwood's character is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because he does good things. He does some bad things. His bad things he does is whenever he double crosses to double dip on his bounty. Like, that's not a good moral deed to turn in a criminal, to break him loose, to turn him in again. That's not really good. But he's also a little ugly. Like, he's ugly to Tuco, making him get into that noose again at the very end. So even in the last scene, it could suggest that where it shows the bad, he killed the guy. That's bad. He killed the other bounty guy. The ugly, him keeping the ugly strangled up by his neck, thinking he's about to die, and then the good deeds he does throughout the movie. So he's kind of all three of them. He's not like a straight moral character. We talked about that in the first 2 episodes, where he's not like a John Wayne character. He's a Clint Eastwood character where he tiptoes that moral line. Sometimes he falls off the wagon. Sometimes he's doing the good thing, but he's kind of doing it for his best interest. So he's kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly. He can bring it out, and in situations, he brings out a different side of himself.
Have you thought that maybe all the characters that were labeled the good, the bad, and the ugly are also showing different ways of being good and bad and ugly?
Tuco's not good. Tuco doesn't do a single good thing. He only does good things when he's like trying to get the money. He's like, "Hey, friend, you're my best friend."
I know, but maybe that's like the deeper level of like being good. Like, what is good? Like, yeah, I mean, like what is good?
Oh
yeah.
Sorry, sign fell for the audio listeners.
We're
okay.
we are currently residing in a apartment of somebody that is on this podcast. I will leave him unnamed, but he has 2 cats, and there's some big fuck ups.
You like the cats?
I love these cats.
You gotta get a little scratch on you.
Yeah, I had to wear a Band-Aid the whole movie. That's the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Did you notice in the movie whenever it was they only did it one time? I was hoping they were gonna keep doing it, but they had like a callback, I feel like, to the first movie with the cigar switch in his mouth cue to the music. He did it one time.
It would just switch, like,
yes. In the very beginning of the movie, he like did it, and the music cued. I was like, oh shit, are they gonna bring that back?
No, it wasn't just the beginning. He did it at least one more time that I noticed.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine going back to that movie and trying to find that scene, like to clip it.
Yeah.
But I did notice he did it kind of like towards the second half of the movie, and it's just so subtle, but also so sudden. Like,
yeah.
You're just like.
Because it's like such a big, you have to like really open your mouth to switch the cigar over smooth and quickly, and then when the music hits, it just like enunciates it so much.
But I also just think that like
emphasizes it so much.
I just think about how many takes that took. For a director, I like, okay, the music's playing, now switch it.
They do it in post.
You think so?
He does it whenever, and they just time it up, I think, in the edit.
Okay.
But who
the
has
fact
good,
that it's like a conscious decision, I love it.
The best aim though was whenever Tuco throws that water bottle down the hill and it rolls perfectly over to Clint Eastwood's head. Obviously, he probably didn't land on Clint Eastwood's head, but that reverse roll
trajectory,
it was nice.
It looked like that was.
I wonder how many takes
shot.
that took. That's like a trick shot almost. He threw it. It wasn't like he like.
Oh no, that's a dude perfect.
It's a dude perfect clip right there.
I was thinking when I saw that, I was like, damn, like that's somebody I would want on my scramble, like playing golf with
cornhole
while we were putting, like. That's like the perfect putt. Like you just like hit it and it falls back perfectly.
Wonder how many takes it took, because like they're filming on film, so you really don't have unlimited takes. Like it costs more money each take. Of course, I don't think money was that big of an issue on this one, but still, it had to take them a couple tries to get that roll perfect.
Regardless of money, I feel like I could just tell while watching this movie, they were having fun making this movie.
Yeah.
Just by the like scene selections and the shots that they decided to make. I was like, these guys were enjoying making this. Like they were not wanting to like, get this movie done quickly.
Yeah.
They were really out there like, yeah. I just, I feel like you can always appreciate that from a movie, like a good movie. You can tell, okay, they put a lot of work into this because they cared. And they took every shot seriously. So
yeah, like one of the fun moments in the movie, I think it's them having fun. It's whenever Clint Eastwood has Tuco and he gives him that cigar. The first time when he puts the cigar in his mouth and it cuts to him on the horse with the cigar in his mouth and he spits it out like, you motherfucker, cussing him out for taking him to the hangman.
Yeah.
And then when he shoots him down, he brings him up again and he's like, how much money do you think you're worth? He's like, 2,000. He's like 2,000. You're right. Gives him a cigar again, and then it cuts. See, like he gives him the cigar, the scene kind of plays out again, but just like that little trope of like every time he gives Tuco that cigar, Tuco's getting captured again. And then like after he gives it to him the second time, it cuts back and he's back on the horse.
And I love the idea of that being a business decision, like between Clint Eastwood's character, between Blondie and Tuco, because Tuco is quite literally taking all the risk, but he's not capable of doing any other job other than that.
Yeah.
And so if at any point Blondie were to just be like, I don't really think his bond's going to go up after this.
Yeah, which he did.
Yeah. He's like, I don't think his bond's going to go up after this. Like he could just not shoot and just take all of the money. So it's just like, it's going into the point of that Blondie is always like one step ahead, and he kind of notices like, oh, your value's not even going up anymore. Like, yeah, I don't even think
I'm wasting my time.
You won't even get past 3,000. Like, why would I save you from a hanging the next time?
Yeah.
But the ugly, as crazy, sporadic, and wild that he is, he doesn't even think about it. He's just thinking like, why would you give this up? Like, I'm crazy for doing this. Like, let's make some money.
Yeah.
So it's good. But
I like I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, I like one thing that I've just noticed, because how much writing power did Clint Eastwood have in these movies?
I would not think a lot, because Sergio Leone, he's a writer-director, so I would assume he probably is pretty big on his own writing.
Okay.
I would imagine.
Okay.
I'm sure there's some play, but I don't know that for a fact.
I kind of like, now that I've seen the whole trilogy, we've done it. I like to think that Sergio, in his mind, like the perfect world is just where people say the least amount of words as they possibly can in conversation and in just confrontation. Like in Sergio's world, nobody talks.
Yeah. Straight to business all the time.
Yeah. Like
honestly though,
there's no BS. Like, and if there is, it's for perfect comedic relief.
Yeah.
Apparently Sergio used a team of comedy writers and then didn't use any of it. And then the guy who originally came up with the idea wrote it in 11 days.
Damn, 11 days?
Yeah.
You mean
comedy writers probably made it way too goofy. I bet they kept some of the goofiness from the comedy writers. He says he didn't keep any of it, but surely the ideas maybe.
Apparently they only kept like the first line that they used.
He probably hated how corny they were trying to make it.
Right.
Because he probably thought that they were, I guess, insulting his spaghetti western movies.
I mean, if you're a comedian trying to make it funny, you're just going to poke fun at everything and try to make it sound so stupid so that way it is funny, right?
Yeah, I think it's actually kind of a ballsy decision to have comedians on this movie at all, because like if you're going for serious, which I really think they were somewhat trying to do in the first two movies, if you brought comedians from fucking wherever, SNL,
I'm thinking they were from SNL.
I'm thinking about Chevy Chase like writing this movie.
Yeah, I think.
And I'm
sure they were probably Italian comedians.
And he saw this and he was like, "Oh, okay, you're just making fun of everything." He probably was just annoyed. He was like, "No, this isn't a comedy movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, there's funny scenes in it. Like, yes, there's good funny one-liners. Like Tuco telling the sheriff, like, 'Oh, you took that bounty from him. Oh, oh, you're rolling it up? Yeah, no, I know somewhere you could stick it. Like,
yeah.
When I heard that, I was thinking, damn, that's pretty good. Fuck that sheriff.
Yeah.
Like, got his ass.
Even Clint Eastwood lines, I think they hit so much better because the way they wrote it with 3 different characters, there's less Clint Eastwood, so whenever his one-liners come, they hold more weight and they're funnier. When it's like mainly Clint Eastwood always giving one-liners, they tend to maybe get old. But in this movie, they don't get old because you don't really get that many of them. You get them like sparingly, and they're always good. So you're like, hell yeah.
They pick their moments way better.
Yeah.
Going throughout this movie.
They also let moments drag. Like they'll let maybe not drag's the right word, but they let moments sit and hold for a second because, especially in that final scene, I mean that standoff is a long time.
Yes, but that was good.
I agree. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that they hold those moments for a long time.
Yeah, like I just
they pick their moments well and they hold their moments well.
Yes,
they know when to play it out.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that last standoff really hit because you have the context of like everything they've been through, and then you're wondering, are they trying to team up with each other, like with their eyes and all of that?
Yeah, not sure what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
you honestly don't know what's gonna happen. Like who's gonna shoot who? There's 3 of them. Like,
well, I knew what was gonna happen.
You called it, but they didn't both shoot him. Gray called they were both gonna shoot the bad, but only
they did both shoot him.
No, he tried to. The other one didn't have any bullets.
You're right though. Don't worry.
Damn, I didn't even catch the fact that he didn't have bullets.
Yeah, he didn't. Remember, that's why he didn't shoot Blondie because he's like pissed off that his gun didn't work.
Oh, okay.
Because he went to go do it and he was like, fuck.
I thought that maybe Blondie, being one step ahead, put one bullet in his gun or somehow like made it to where that was the fact. And he knew that if he was going to shoot anybody, it would be the bad.
Yeah.
Which would still make sense because the bad, like, tortured the shit out of him. That was a brutal scene.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was kind of nuts.
That scene is probably my favorite scene.
Given the time of this movie being made, like, they really, you think about, okay, the second movie, like Clint Eastwood, his torture scene where he's like getting punched, and every time he gets punched, you just hear the maniacal like,
right,
like, that laugh.
Yeah.
And like he's literally just getting like punched around the room. It's kind of comical. It's not necessarily realistic. This one is dark. They hire the band outside.
The prisoners. The prisoners are the band.
Yeah, they hire. Oh,
that's why they're all crying because they're having to hide their own men getting tortured in that room.
Yeah, and so they have the music playing. So the dying
tortured man,
the dying general, like doesn't really get to like know that that this is happening, and it's just it's tough, and they beat the shit out of him, and I'm talking like it looked good.
Yeah, it's not like the corny beats up where it's like the maniacal laugh.
No,
like
I mean they're putting fingers and eyes.
Oh yeah, dude.
They're like putting his head in the floor and then like punching it in. It's just it's a brutal.
Yeah.
That it was something like that. When I saw it, it kind of took me out of the movie. I was like, this isn't a movie. Like, this is probably like how it was done.
Even more brutalities whenever Tuco makes Blondie walk across the desert. You see how much the sun has destroyed his face. Obviously, the makeup isn't that great in some of the shots. You can kind of tell it's just pasted over his beard. But still, how rough his face is, that's so brutal. No water, just like wrinkled, dried, burnt face.
Yeah.
Just your skin is just destroyed. Like, that's pretty brutal.
I know. But that also like comes into play of why I don't necessarily agree with the ending. Just because.
Why?
Because Tuco did that to Blondie. You would not forgive anybody that dragged you through the desert.
He's the good. He keeps his deals.
But it also, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Blondie did it to him first at the beginning. Do you remember that?
What did he do?
He made
drag
him walk
through the desert.
70 miles through the desert. He didn't drag him, but he left him.
Damn.
Yeah. So he kind of was doing payback and more.
So they kind of got even.
My apologies to anybody listening. I forgot it's a 3-hour movie. It did. No.
Because Tuco took up another level.
I really did. And now that Scott says that, I do remember that. Yeah.
Tuco brought up a whole nother level by making him walk 100 miles and taunting him the whole time with his cute pink little umbrella.
Damn, dude. Dark movie.
Which is funny.
All things considered.
The pink umbrella is a great, nice touch because it's flaunting the luxury that Tuco has over Blondie. Like a pink umbrella in the desert. Like he's getting to shade himself. He's got all the water. He's got liquor, walking around and just, like as you think, they picked a pink umbrella because it just stands out so much so in this barren, bland landscape.
Well, and shout out to Scott because I didn't even think about this, but they do mention it at his first hanging that he
Tuco's?
Tuco, before he's about to get hanged, Blondie's about to shoot him. Anyways, they're like listing his charges and they do say like he like raped a virgin woman. And so when he's escorting Blondie through the desert and all of a sudden he opens that pink oh my god,
umbrella,
thank you. He opens the pink umbrella. I kind of started laughing. I was just like, that's funny. Like,
where did he get that?
Well, I was just like, that's so funny. Like you have like these rough, tough cowboy criminals in the desert and all of a sudden one of them just whips out a pink umbrella. And I just started laughing and Scott was like, well, no, it's probably like an umbrella he took from somebody that he raped and killed. Scott really sucked the life out of the room on that one.
It emphasizes he's a bad guy.
Yeah, just he's
ugly, bro.
He is the ugliness. So that one got me. That really did. Like when Scott said that, I was like, damn, like, yeah, because there's no way that's on accident. There's no way they were just thinking, oh, we don't have any good umbrellas on set. Let's just use this fucking pink one.
Yeah. I also feel like maybe umbrellas were just for women back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, men have hats.
Yeah.
Women have umbrellas.
Right. But regardless, it still goes into the point of like, like he killed somebody. He killed a woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny
and
that
took her umbrella. And because he's like always trying to take the easy way out, that's like kind of symbolic to him. Like he doesn't care to be a man, quote unquote. He'll just use a girl's umbrella.
Yeah.
He doesn't care what people think about him.
Yeah. It's funny seeing knowing that Italians wrote it and they're Italians writing a American Western story. They have the white guy name be Billy Carson. It seems like the whitest name you could possibly think of, like stereotypical white. Two white names, just mash them together. That's what they pick it. Because like, if you're not from, maybe if you're writing like an Italian movie, you're not Italian, you might pick like the most Italian names you can think of, which might seem like too obviously Italian to somebody that like knows a bunch of Italian people. So it's funny that these Italian guys just pick Billy Carson. Like that's just the widest name you could possibly think of.
Yeah, because to them, it's just like, okay, what's the equivalent to John Wayne?
Billy Carson. Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's pause it.
We can wrap up. Last thing I'll say, my final thought here, we'll wrap it up here, final thoughts. Another funny moment from the movie I thought is knowing that they had a bigger budget showing war scenes, they really capitalized on their Canon shots. They had like a 30 to a minute second sequence of just zoom ins on Canon shooting. So like, no, we fucking pay for these cannons. We're showing these cannons in this movie.
They even do it to the point, like they're showing the cannon like right at the camera.
Yeah.
They use that same shot.
They're doing zoom in, zoom out. Yeah. They're letting you see the cannon in all that spectacular glory.
I think I even noticed that, because the alcoholic commander of the troops, whenever Blondie and Tuco get involved and they enlist, he goes on the spiel of like, oh yeah, like I get all my soldiers drunk as fuck before they go to battle, and that's how I make sure that we win, blah blah blah. But then he goes on to say, my biggest dream is that we just blow up this bridge, because if we do that, all of my people are done. Like we're done fighting. So then Blondie and Tuco make the dream come true in a kind of Looney Tune way. They just walk down with the box labeled explosions.
Yeah.
And they just blow up the bridge.
Running across the field with the battle going on, dead guys all over the floor, medics running around. They're just like...
Yeah. But then as soon as they blow up the bridge, there's kind of just that moment of, oh, dream come true. But then the budget of the movie really comes in, and it's like, wait, we have all these cannons. We have all these explosives, like, just ready to use. So it's like you said, it's just like a 30-second, probably over a minute montage of just cannons just going off, blowing up next to people.
Yeah. Hey, what is the budget, Scott? Could you find it? I wonder how the other ones are pretty cheap. I think just a few $1 million. And then they got a few dollars more.
1.2 million.
Did you get it? Get that? This is only 1.2 million?
Yep.
Wow. You didn't catch it.
No, what'd you say?
I said the first one they did it for pretty cheap, but then they got a few dollars more.
Ah.
We just fist bumped.
Yeah. I had to repeat myself.
Yeah. No, that was good. That was good. I'm sorry.
I didn't want to let it slide. Felt proud about that one.
I'm sorry. I looked over at Scott and I kind of expected him to just be playing like Angry Birds or something.
He's been playing Angry Birds the whole episode. All right, Scott, what's your final thought about the good, the bad, and the ugly?
It's a great concept. It being based around the Civil War. That's about it.
My final thoughts are they took the movie seriously, or more of the fact they decided to not take themselves too seriously. I thought the timing was better. Everything just flowed 100,000,000,000% better in this movie. It was enjoyable. I really enjoyed this movie, and that is coming from somebody that has not been looking forward to watching this movie since we started this trilogy. So,
my final thought
watch
is,
it.
I'm glad we got you. I'm glad we finally bumped that 3 up at least 3.5 points. 3 to 4 to 6.5. I was hoping we get you at least to a 7 or 8, but
I'm happy. Right. I'm happy to be on the good side.
Nice.
Welcome
to the light side.
Yeah,
young Padawan.
John Wayne's still better.
We can throw on some John Wayne movies next.
We'll throw on some John Wayne, and we'll see what's what.
Okay. All right, y'all. Thank you for listening. Comment below what you think about the good and the bad and the ugly. Let us know which one of the trilogy is your favorite. We'll see you next week in our half-built studio. We still got the old one half set up, so you'll see the next few episodes, but pretty soon you'll see our brand new set based out in Austin, Texas. We're out.
Trying to buy my next meal. Seems all I do is drive. And when the boss man sends my next check in the mail, I'll have enough for closing time. And I've been cussing like a sailor since I ran out of weed.